The U.S. House of Representatives just passed the four major bills we've been talking about for the past few months. That is aid for Ukraine, aid for Israel, aid for Taiwan, or known as the Indo-Pacific bill, and a TikTok ban. That's right, all four of them have been passed. It just happened. So let's break this all down. There's been so many questions about what's inside these bills, what's going to happen moving forward. So right now, we're going to go through and break them all down, starting off with the first one that was voted on for the day, and that is the TikTok ban. When it comes to this vote, they did vote to ban TikTok. That means ByteDance, the owner of TikTok, would have 9 months to divest their 20% stake in TikTok. 20%, it's a decent amount. Now, ByteDance already said they will not do that under no circumstance. Remember that when it comes to TikTok, we're only, here in the United States, 2% of their audience. So why would they sell their app and their algorithm, which is beating all the other platforms, to a US-based company? It makes no sense. So what's going to happen now? Is it gone forever? No. They're going to take this to the Supreme Court. They're going to fight this. This is going to be over a year and a half until they finally figure out what's going on. If they lose in the Supreme Court, they're just going to allow the app to be removed. That's it. You won't be able to get in any app store, whether it is the Android or the Apple App Store. Now, you'll still be able to use it in a couple other countries, and if you have VPN like us, you can kind of still be on the app. You just got to log into VPN, and it's going to go in that way. So you can still kind of be on TikTok without actually being on TikTok. Now, once again, will they sell? No. Will it be a ban? Depending on what happens with the Supreme Court. So that was the first bill. Next was the one for, we keep saying Taiwan, but realistically, it's kind of more than Taiwan. It's Indo-Pacific region. That's $8.1 billion. It's part of the $95 billion that was passed. 95 kind of round up. So $8.1 billion is to kind of deter China. Really, that's what it comes down to. And that breakdown is $3.3 billion to develop submarine infrastructure, so building bases, $2 billion for foreign military finance for Taiwan. So it's, I don't know if it's really of a loan, but more or less it's going to give them money to help build up their infrastructure, and then $1.9 billion to give weapons to Taiwan. So that was one that was passed. Next, this is the Ukrainian aid bill. I will tell you that it says $95 billion. It's really $61 billion. And I'm going to break this one down for you because a lot of people have misconceptions that we're just giving Ukraine a blank check. Not only is that incorrect, it's the exact opposite. The U.S. is actually making money on this deal to a point to where it's kind of laughable. So let's talk about it. So it's $61 billion. They voted on it. 311 said yes. 112 said no. So clearly, a large majority. They voted yes. They're moving forward with it. Out of the $61 billion, this is the breakdown. $23 billion, that money is going to the military complex here in the United States to make new weapons. So the money is going to U.S. jobs, U.S. companies, U.S. tax dollars, and those weapons will stay here in the United States to build up the stockpile. That's right. Money that's being spent here, the money stays here, the weapons stay here. They're rebuilding our stockpile because it's dwindled in the past few years as we are helping Ukraine. Then we got $14 billion, which is to make weapons for Ukraine. So sort of the same thing. That money stays here. U.S. jobs, U.S. companies, U.S. tax dollars stays here. The weapons go to Ukraine, and they're charging them full price. It's not like they're going to get discount on this stuff. $11 billion. That money is going to U.S. operations in the area. That is to keep up maintenance on U.S. equipment, to pay soldiers, whether they're Marines or regular soldiers or the Navy, and or satellites in the area. All that stuff costs money, especially when it comes to those recon drones. Those drones take off from Sicily, and then they fly over to the Black Sea and fly around for 8 to 12 hours before coming back. So there's a lot of money that's being used just to kind of keep an eye on the situation. Now, you're probably saying, Joey, what about the rest of the money? The rest of that money? That's going to the Ukrainian economy. And you're probably saying, wait a minute. Does that mean they're getting a blank check? No. So that money is going to keep the economy going in Ukraine. You're probably saying, why? Why would you go ahead and give them money to do that? Well, because if their economy crashed, they're not going to be able to sustain themselves. And then they become a bigger target for Russia because then you can easily take over a country that doesn't have a good economy or a good government running. And you're probably saying, but Joey, they're going to have that money? Not really. It's a loan. That money, with interest, will come back to the United States. Yeah, that's right. So out of the $61 billion, more of it is actually coming back than what we're putting out. And the one thing I always like to highlight is the fact that anytime the U.S. provides weapons for Ukraine, especially things that haven't been used before and they work really great, then other countries go, hey, can we buy that? And then that money, it keeps flowing in and in. So that $61 billion could be worth $100 billion coming back. You just don't know. It all depends on how it comes through. And then finally, the last package, the Israel aid bill. Israel aid bill was a lot smaller than the Ukrainian one, but in this one, you would say that Israel is actually getting a lot more for their deal. So this passed at 366 to 58, overwhelmingly passed. That's a $26.4 billion aid bill. $4 billion is for the Iron Dome. $1.2 billion is for the Iron Beam defense system. $4.4 is to replenish defense items, so more weapons for them. $3.5 billion is for more weapon systems for them. And then what was new to this was the $9.2 billion for humanitarian aid. I know what you're saying, but Joey, who is that going to? Is that to Gaza? Is that to Israelis? What is that? It doesn't really actually say here. It just says emergency food, shelter, and basic services to populations suffering crises. So it's kind of very broad on that statement. I know what you're saying. That doesn't really sit well with you. Kind of is what it is. Now, I will say, now that this is passed, we have seen a lot of different stuff go down. First, President Zelensky did make a statement. He put a statement on Twitter or X saying that he's grateful to the House. And I want to read for you what he actually says here. It's the first time I'm actually reading it. Democracy and freedom will always have global significance and will never fail as long as America helps to protect it. The vital U.S. aid bill passed today by the House will keep the war from expanding, save thousands and thousands of lives, and help both our nations to become stronger. Just peace and security can only be attained through strength. So, thank you, he's saying, and he's obviously very happy. This is something that Ukraine desperately needed. It is something that we've been talking about for quite some time. Keep in mind, Ukraine needed this all the way back in December, and Mike Johnson had been dragging his feet that entire time, mostly because why? Trump told him to. Trump says, hey, with the election coming up, I want to battle Biden against the border. So don't pass anything until we get something passed on the border, which is funny because today they voted on something on the border and it failed. That being said, Johnson's been dragging his feet. Then he finally said he was going to introduce them about 3 weeks ago. And you had Congresswoman Green and a couple other congressmen, such as Massey, say, if you put this on the floor, we're going to get you kicked out. And out of nowhere, Johnson put all the bills on the floor at the same time, mostly because he made a deal with the Democrats that if the Republicans vote to get him kicked out, they would back him. And even though up until even in about 10, 15 minutes ago, that's never been introduced, it's one of those things where Johnson, it could happen down the line. It's just Republicans have a very slim majority in the House. And so it's very unlikely that he would actually be kicked out of his job because you would need every single Republican to vote yes. And that's very unlikely. And so the Democrat says, we got your back. We have you. And so that's what the latest information about 5 minutes came out from. We heard Green state even earlier today that they would move forward on it, and the House adjourned. They're done for the weekend. They'll be back on Monday. And as of right now, Johnson's job is safe. That means that maybe the motion to vacate by Green and Massey is not going to move forward. Maybe they were just using that as just a threat, and it's not going to happen. But right now, that's where we stand. It's been an insane day. We've been following this for the past 4 or 5 hours. And it kind of just was one of those things where everything happened. We saw that Israel's foreign minister right now just thanked the U.S. for passing the aid bill, saying that it's a strong bipartisanship support, and thanking Johnson for, quote, your leadership, which led the efforts to pass the Israel aid package in the House of Representatives today, and thanking Majority Leader Jeffries to support it. And that's where we're going to leave it. It was a long day with a lot of information. Hopefully I broke down these bills enough for you so that you understand them. If you don't understand them, please let me know in the comment section. I'm always happy to break them down for you. And I want to thank you guys for joining me here on YouTube. I know it's a little bit different than TikTok, but on here we could do longer videos, explain things in way more detail, and hopefully give you guys some new information that you usually can't fit in a 10-minute video, at least a maximum on TikTok. And with the future of TikTok kind of up in the air, we really don't know what's going to happen with that platform. So this will be the channel where moving forward, I'm going to put up as many videos as possible. A, so that we can monetize it because I do this full time. And B, so that I can give you guys the best information possible, verified information, and hopefully explained in a way that you can understand it, whether you're here in the United States, if you're in Europe, if you're in Indochina, if you're anywhere, really, truly, Indo-Pacific, sorry. Hopefully these are videos that can help you guys out to better understand what's going on. I know on our TikTok live today, a lot of people didn't understand what was going on because you can make amendments up until they finally say, does anyone want to take it back to any kind of committee? And once they say no, then you can finally vote on it. And between the 2 minutes and 5 minutes voting, there's a lot that goes on in the U.S. House of Representatives. And hopefully today I taught you guys something new, something that is very different. Now, I do have to say, Biden did just put an announcement this very second. I have an update. This is happening live, by the way. In his statement, he says, today, members of both parties in the House voted to advance our national security interests and send a clear message about power of American leadership on the world stage. It's true, though it should have been, once again, a couple months ago. He says, at this critical inflection point, they came together to answer history's call, passing urgently needed national security legislation that I have fought for months to secure. He added, I urge Senate to quickly send this package to my desk so I can sign it into law and we can quickly send weapons and equipment to Ukraine to meet their urgent battlefield needs. So he doesn't even mention the TikTok ban or Israel or Indochina, Indo-Pacific. He obviously, as we've been saying, for Ukraine, they needed this. They needed this months ago. We lost Adivka because of the United States. We lost thousands of men because of the United States. So it's about time that we finally stepped up to give Ukraine exactly what they need. All that being said, once again, make sure you subscribe, you turn on notifications, and you give this video a thumbs up. Thank you for joining me. I'm Joey. Stay safe. See you later. Bye.